Okay, hello. We are going to talk about releasing the jaw and getting kind of reversing effects of clenching. So I think it's important when you do anything in the body is to kind of understand why and bring some awareness to it. So when it comes to clenching, we want to think about when we clench and then potentially why we clench. So if you clench when you're doing exercises, and that could be a strategy to create stabilization because you're lacking stabilization somewhere else in your body. So if you're doing specific core moves, because it is very linked to the pelvic floor, then it could be that this provides some sort of stabilization for you to engage in the core activity, making up for a lack of stability that's actually present in that area. So that's one thing to explore. Another area to explore is also the stress response, or if you're in an environment that doesn't feel quote unquote safe for whatever reason. Maybe it's a meeting, you don't feel comfortable, you have to present. It could be like a work environment that stresses you out. It could be driving in bad weather. And then if you resulting clench the jaw, because as I mentioned in the post, it is like a survival instinct, because if our jaw isn't clenched and we're in a fight or flight state, then it does us no benefit for our jaw to be broken back in the day when we were fighting or fleeing. So we actually clench as a way to maintain the importance of eating should something happen to us. And it's not unlike, our body overrides things a lot that we're not necessarily aware of. So a great example of things we just totally subconsciously do is if you're driving in the car and all of a sudden you happen upon some really bad weather, or there's a lot of traffic because there's an accident, there's an automatic turn down the radio response. That's because your body wants to heighten the other cues, right? Tune this out, dull this down, so that you can be more aware of the surroundings. So the same thing happens with survival and keeping the jaw clenched. So, excuse me. So if that is the case, then you kind of want to tap into like what's going on around you at the time that it clenches. Like, is there something going on? Is there a stress response in your body? How can you counterbalance that? And a lot of that can be done. If it's like a nervous system thing, sometimes it can be done through your breath and just being consciously bringing breath into it, taking 10 steady breaths, or other sort of strategies to kind of bring you back into like a window of tolerance or capacity to cope where you're within a comfort zone and not kind of in a fight or flight state. I don't want to go too much into that because that's like a lot of layers to peel back. And we're looking at just really trying to release tension in the jaw. And we're talking about when it happens and why. Sometimes you can't make a connection, and that's okay too. It's just trying to check in to see if you can, and then maybe that's helpful in helping to release it, right? Releasing the pelvic floor can also be helpful to release the jaw tension. And there is that relationship. Releasing the jaw releases the pelvic floor and vice versa. So there is the pelvic floor release that can be done. But in this, we're specifically looking at releasing the clenching as a way to help with pelvic floor tension. So the jaw opens, closes, goes side to side, and jets in and out. So, and teeth out and teeth in, okay? Now, typically when we talk or eat, we're within a very small range of movement in the jaw. We actually have a lot more than we actually use. So in releasing the jaw through movement, you want to go to the extremes where you're comfortable. So like a fully wide open. You can add sticking your tongue out, so to stretch out different muscles. You can go back and forth. Now have it in neutral, slightly open, and move this way and this way. And then you can jut forward and jut back. So we're really taking it through a full range of motion. Now, if at any point any of this is super uncomfortable or you're feeling some clicking or grinding, it is a great idea to get a professional opinion on whether I'm going to use TMJ through this, but it stands for temporomandibular joint, which is up and through here, to see if there's something going on with the tracking or if something's off. But if that's free and no problem, then going through those motions and giving full range to the muscles of the jaw is a great way to help loosen, stretch, activate, use the muscles to their fullest potential in helping to release some of that tension. Now there's also resisted action. So that would be putting your hand on your jaw and resisting motion this way. So with the jaw slightly open, tracking to, this is my right, but pushing in and resisting. Now I'm not overpowering with this hand and I'm not trying to push that away from me. I'm just creating a nice little tension. And I'm like full fingers. And then the same on the other side. So again, that's activating the muscles. And then you can do through like different range of motions. You can have that resistance through the, like from start to end range, just providing a little bit of resistance. Again, you don't want to power through. It's just meeting it and offering a little bit more resistance to the range. And then the other one would be through some manual work. So not everyone can go for treatment. So you can, using the pads of your fingers, you can, now I suggest for this, you're not locked. And also trying again not to push too hard. So you're taking that TMJ joint out of like alignment, but just doing little small circles through the lower jawline, okay? So this is my upper jawline. It's where that jawbone goes up. And this lower jawline, doing some massage through those muscles. Now, as you go over, some people get very alarmed, like, oh, it's so bumpy. But that is also because you can be going across the muscle cross fiber. So that's like this is the direction of the muscle, and if I'm going at it like this, then there's going to be more tension, more bumping than if I'm going along the muscle belly. Okay, so just doing some light massage in through the jaw like that can help to loosen up some of the clenching. And then you would do the other side, and again, going through the range of motion exercises after that. So, and getting the lips involved, right? What's it like with, so you're getting different muscle activation. Going side to side. You can have fun with it and try and do a circle. That was hard, and I'm also kind of like creeped out by watching myself do this, so my apologies. And how weird it must be for you to watch. But those are other ways to like get mobility and just play with it a little bit. Again, if the end range is uncomfortable, come back from like any sort of major discomfort so that you're within like a zone that just really helps to loosen. Now you will feel afterwards some potential muscle soreness because you're activating muscles in ways that they're not normally used, and that's okay. Another great release I like to do with a ball. So you want the ball to have a little bit, like this one's sticky, almost like a balloon is sticky, where this one feels like too slippery or smooth, almost like there's baby powder on it. So you want to use a ball that's going to stick. So this is a lacrosse ball. And you gently push it into the tissue and engage it. And then you twist. I know, that looks amazing, right? But what it does is it grabs the fascia And just that light little twist, and you can go in the opposite direction too. It just gives a little bit of opening to everything there. Okay? So you see how it just kind of distorts the skin. I'm not applying a ton of pressure. I'm just simply using it lightly and then just doing a little bit of a circular motion. So this should not be uncomfortable. If you find that it is, you might be using too much force. Okay? And that just gives like a nice opening of everything here. And then last but not least, you can see I've already done it, my favorite, neck. Obviously stretching the neck it can be part of it, but we're specifically kind of zoning in on the jaw. But this is a neck stretch that's often overlooked. Many people don't do it. I love it. I love the name of the muscle. It's the platysma, which is like, how cool is that name? Anyways, you take the heel of your hand, you bring it onto your chest and kind of do a little bit of a drag. So this is in the same, premise of this grabbing the skin. You do a little bit of a drag down, okay? And then you stretch up. And you can look side to side. Now, I'm not touching through my neck, but what happens is you get some reddening as you get circulation into the area. And I find that one also helps when I'm having some jaw issues, to just help, it kind of releases all of this tension because we have so much forward head posture. It just like opens that space up, and it's just like a beautiful release to the anterior chest wall. So very, very basic, easy things that can be done. Again, you want to try and understand the when and the why, and see if there's ways that you can shift the pattern. And sometimes it does, you may need to go see a professional and just see if you can get specific things released. You can have internal jaw work done. That's when you really sense the connection to the pelvic floor. But sometimes there's a lot of tension in the deep muscles of the jaw that it's beneficial to have released. So a couple of things you can do at home, and a couple of ideas that maybe you can seek out a professional to help if this clenching continues to be an issue. All right, let me know if you have any questions.